Café Anyway. Hello there, it's Mike. What's going on?
It's Mike's Daily Podcast.
I'm going to attempt to not do a post slate today. I'm going to do a slate up here at the beginning. I'm slating the show 2000.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
810. FF episode 200810. It's Mike Matthews. And I am so a podcaster that does the audio thing. I don't do the video thing. And that's probably good for you and me. As I stop saying at the beginning.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Yes, so it's at Café Anyways where we are. It's Mike Matthews here in Podcastro Valley, the last place on earth.
Mike's
And
Daily
we're in the land
Podcast.
of Ameritopica.
Yeah!
It'll cost you to know where you're sitting on your next flight. Yes, if you have not heard this yet, this is true. First baggage fees, now seat charges. What? Airlines are taking advantage of your anxiety of not sitting with your family. My lovely lady friend was on the podcast recently and told you about when we were flying down to Los Angeles and we were on Southwest. So Southwest is already, we have them to thank for this because they do it where you have to find your own seat. It's back. I don't even know how they're going to do this. I guess they'll have to, the people that bought their seats get to go on pre-boarding, which I guess they pay a little bit more anyway with that Café Anyway. So what happened was my lovely lady friend and I were sitting not in the same row, not in the same, we were like a row apart, and across the aisle from each other, if I described that correctly. And we just took off and I look over and there's a flight attendant right next to her with a bunch of towels. I'm thinking, what's going on? Is she crying? What's happening? And
here's today's podcast picture.
It turned out it was some kind of condensation going on in the plane where the air conditioning starts to drip on you. This brown water was dripping on her, and I was told by somebody at work that that's normal. That shouldn't be normal with all the other things we got to put up with flying. And now we got to have the plane drip on us. The late great Basil the Boxer never flew, never was on a plane, which is probably a good thing. But he will not be the podcast picture, unfortunately, today. Why don't we have a podcast picture of Patches the cat? See him at mikesdailypodcast.com. He's the feral cat, or it'll be Rocky, one of the two. Rocky was not a feral cat. He was rescued. Boy, both these pictures are what they would call adorable.
Addenda with Kevin.
Oh, yeah. That's out to Kevin, who I haven't spoken to yet. He just got back from his vacation, his honeymoon. So I would like to say hello. Welcome to your new married life, if he's listening. But yes, so see the picture at mikesdailypodcast.com of either one of the cats. Patches was a feral cat.
This show is clean.
He still is feral. He's just more domesticated. He comes in, he lets us pet him. He will not let us pick him up. But he was fixed and all that. There's a special local cat rescue company that took him and did all that. And then since then, he's been getting more and more friendly with us. We've known him for about 3 years. So, but back to flying. Seat assignment used to come with your flight at no extra cost. Seat assignments are now a logistical and financial puzzle. Airlines have tricked out seat maps.
Woo!
With added fees nearly everywhere, even middle seats. It's not just the budget airlines like Frontier, Spirit, Allegiant. It also includes American, Delta, and United. The only of those that I just mentioned that I will fly is Delta. I can't stand any of the other ones. So, well, this is going to affect me now too. Prices range from $40 one way. Yes, an extra $40 for an ordinary seat.
Mike is on it, man.
Man go where no man has gone before.
We love it, Mike.
To $90 for an exit row. For international flights, it can be an extra $250. But when you're flying international, of course, you're flying over 10 hours usually. Is it worth it? It might be. You don't discover the cost until you put in your passenger information. That is something that's got to be on Biden's radar, because he hates all the junk fees and whatnot. So if this is his last year, I hope he goes after this.
This is Mike's podcast picnic.
Yes, as we enjoy all the wonderful... Is it really a picnic when you're inside somewhere that's not outside on grass? We're inside at a table. Welcome to the picnic, Mike's podcast picnic here at Café Anyway. Seat fees brought in $4.2 billion for the 8 large U.S. airlines on domestic flights alone. This was 2 years ago. That compares with
I got into it.
with $5.1 billion for baggage fees. 4.2 for seat fees, 5.1 for billion, both in billions, for baggage fees. Don't expect other passengers willing to give up their seats ever again. Can you move? I remember one guy. I mean, it was Southwest, so pretty much everybody is picking their seats as is. Can I sit next to... No. And the guy had on...
Man, sometimes you wear stretchy pants.
He had one of those idiot Punisher shirts. Basically, in this world, if you wear a jersey or if you're wearing a Punisher shirt, you qualify for me to be... Amazon shop while you watch. Maybe this is what this guy was watching a Punisher movie and decided to buy it because he's watching it and go outside a Cafe Anyway, where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley, the last place on earth. Last year, in the land of Maritovka, last year, Amazon's NFL Black Friday game showcased QR codes with exclusive deals during commercial breaks. Amazon Live this week introduced last week, a shoppable, free ad-supported QVC-style channel to Prime Video. Now, I believe they also have been doing this on their website for quite a while. If you go on through the website, the desktop version, there's a place, Cafe Anyway, that you can scroll down to, and there they are. They're showing you the latest things. Why you would watch that when there's a gazillion other things to watch. 75% of adults are looking at a mobile device while they are watching television. So the new channel allows you to browse, shop, and engage with content that they're watching on the TV screen via mobile devices. The channel includes 24/7 programming featuring...
people get stuck on stupid, you know what I mean?
Featuring content from celebrities, influencers, creators, and brands like Lala Kent from Vanderpump Rules, Taste Made, and The Bump. Okay, that was all just a bunch of Greek words to me. Viewers can add items directly from the stream to their cart. Yes, that's the latest news there.
MTV News. You hear it first.
Oh, and other channels are going to start doing it, including Peacock, Disney, TikTok, Walmart. They want shoppable TV services as well. So if you're a woman, did you know that you make up 49% of the overall U.S. workforce? But if you are a woman with a tech job, you only make up 29%. 29% of tech jobs are held by women.
Fabagoo. Things to do.
That's some things to do, is more women need to get tech jobs. I think the tech companies need to listen to me now. Okay, that worked just then. They were listening. Meta's Quest headset opens up its VR operating system called Horizon OS to third parties and says Asus and Lenovo are both planning Meta Horizon OS compatible headsets. Meta's admitting they got outclassed by Apple Vision Pro and gives up on competing on hardware. And that is what they admitted. They got outclassed by Apple Vision Pro. So that's what's going on. And then Apple said that they were going to stop with AI. They were going to just take Google's AI. So everybody's taking a little bit of giving up a little bit everywhere there. It looks like they're in the Silicon Valley there. Teslas.
You will travel into the incredible universe.
Tesla stock crashed last week, falling more than 40% this year. Tesla's pricing strategy, demand for its electric vehicles, its self-driving software, and coming robotaxi event, and its plans to launch a lower-priced model. It had a bad week last week. Blue milk from Star Wars has hit shelves ahead of May the 4th. That is coming up. Wow. Is that this weekend? It's on the horizon. A Saturday, May the 4th. Be with you. Dairy from a galaxy far, far away, the blue milk, which has been exclusively available at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge in Disney parks. That would be the one in Anaheim. It takes up the area between Frontierland. Is it Frontier? Yeah. Frontierland. Nope, not Tomorrowland. That's what that came from the Trip Through Inner Space ride. That's long, long gone. It was there when I was a kid. Got replaced by a Star Wars ride. The first Star Wars ride, Star Tours. But that is not where the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge is. It is between basically Fantasyland and Frontierland. I think. I've never been there, but I've seen enough YouTube videos and influencers and all those guys.
The Royal Trump Tweet Decree.
Not that guy. He hasn't been there. But I don't think. Has he ever been to Disneyland? I've been to Disneyland, and I have also been in a courtroom where it's sweaty and hot, and I don't deserve it because I'm leading. I'm the best. I'm the candidate that's winning. Look at me. That was cocaine that Biden was taking. Luke Skywalker can be seen drinking blue milk in Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. But it was not called that. I guess it was. Was it called? Does it say that at the beginning? I don't know. George Lucas went back and revised everything he did beforehand so many times. I don't know what's the real thing anymore. But yes, the one that came out in 76, 77, somewhere in there. In that movie, he's drinking blue milk with the uncle or the people there on Tatooine. He also drank green milk in Star Wars, or green milk. Okay. In Star Wars Episode 8, rather, The Last Jedi. That's right. And that's a pretty gross scene from what I saw clips of on YouTube. I really am not the biggest Star Wars fan. I loved it as the first movie. I didn't get into all the lore. I did see the first 3 that came out in 77, I think 80, 83, something like that. But gosh, some guy at work today was wearing a Boba Fett hockey jersey from Lunchbox or something like that. I'm okay. All right. I guess you make a lot of money. You can spend stuff on that. That sounds cool. Means nothing to me. Says the guy who has a Doctor Who t-shirt hanging in his closet right now. But I'm not following that anymore either. I stopped with What's a Jodie Whittaker. I'm like, come on. Although I saw it at the library.
Pretty much.
Over the weekend when I rented Night Gallery. Rod Serling's second big thing that he did after Twilight Zone. And it's very Twilight Zone-esque, but it involves spooky paintings. And I remember seeing it as a kid, and my dad used to watch it. And my lovely lady friend and I have been watching it and going, what is this? It's a lot of talking. because it basically was theater in television. There was this thing going on in this
band's mutations.
It wasn't really a band's mutation, it was like TV show mutations over the time that TV debuted, and they took a lot that was working on radio, and which was theater. We really didn't understand movies the way they're made that could be translated to TV. Movies had a style, and then TV.
Cassette cubbyhole.
If we look in my cassette cubbyhole, we'll see that television did a lot of theater, adaptations, and then slowly started to pull stuff from movies and look more and more like movies until you got to the 90s and the O's and the 2010s, and you've got TV shows like Game of Thrones that are just like movies, and they spend as much on a movie as they would on an episode as they would on a movie. But the point is that we've been watching this. Oh, and I noticed in the library that they got Doctor Who, the Jodie Whittaker ones. I might watch those, but I just was not happy with what Chris Chibnall did with that whole thing. And also, I'm not British. If I were British, this would be moot, because I would have watched it as a kid, grown up with it. Here in America, it's just like, oh, I think I'm British. I'm going to watch Doctor Who all the time. It's pretty ridiculous, but I do like the whole concept of the TARDIS, and there's some funny writing, some hilarity. Now, Night Gallery and that whole thing, if you ever try and watch it, it is a lot of dialogue back and forth, and a lot of it is pretty...
As you know, there's a real scary holiday coming up.
Don't know if Paul Lynn is in any of them. But yes, there's just a lot. You're going, okay, where is this going? What's it doing? Kind of like this podcast. What's this leading to? And then suddenly there's some big, oh, wow, it's a surprise. They're not actually where they say they are. They're on the moon, or she's actually not alive. She's a ghost, or whatever. I don't think those were any of the surprises. But yeah, one day we were watching it, and I got really frustrated. I got in a ripe Geronimo sort of mood, because I'm like, what? I cannot binge watch this anymore, even though it's early 70s. And you watch early. The first couple of episodes include 2 episodes that were the first things that Steven Spielberg ever directed. The first one is with Joan Crawford, who was the hangers, no wire hangers woman.
Magnification.
And by the way, when Faye Dunaway was portraying her in that movie later on, oh my gosh, she did such a good job. She looked just like her. So the point is, what are we going to do about all these protests? What is going on? And somebody brought up an interesting point, that it is so close to the end of the school year for a lot of these students. So they want to do something big. And that's why they're doing the protesting thing. But if they really dug down and the whole, if they saw what the Hamas connection is and all that, as we were discussing in the last podcast, I don't think they'd be demonstrating. The only demonstration I did, I participated in a get together. It was like a big fundraiser. So I don't think it was really a protest. And this was like 1988. And I think they still do it. It's called Take Back the Night. And it's against violence against women, just any abuse that women were, and in any of that, it was a protest against any of that, basically, any abuse towards women. So that was the big thing. And I know we did say there was some kind of no nukes organization on campus, but it was pretty quiet there in Santa Barbara at UCSB. So I don't know. It's a whole nother climate, whole nother world at colleges now. It's interesting. We won't get into that on this particular podcast. In fact, we are outside. We're not in anything. We're outside is what I'm trying to get to. English. Look who's here. Hi, Mike. It's Benita the rodeo queen. How y'all doing? I brought my horse, Nelly. Oh, hi, Nelly.
It's a disgruntled fiddle player. Tell you what.
What?
All that protesting on the campuses, they should just do what the DeSantis did. Just tell them, no, get out. Get.
Uh-huh. I'm sure that will work. Look who else is here.
Oh, Mike, I make you delicious root beer. Have some right now. It's called root beer. Oh, boy. Drink right now. I'll cut you.
Like I said, I'm against the violence and abuse. And all right. Wow. That is a hearty root beer. What's in that particular root beer there, Brewmaster?
I put my love in it.
I don't want to ask. I mean, thank you for doing that. Okay, next show, it'll be, or maybe not no thank you to any of that. Next show, it'll be Madame Rootabega, Valentino, and Bison Bentley. And if you would like to call in and comment on anything we covered on this particular podcast, you can call this number.
Call Mike at the Café Anyway hotline. Area code 510-228-4640.
Oh, yeah. So Columbia, they suddenly said midweek last week, they said, okay, we've just decided a couple things now. No people in these protests that are from out of town or not students of the university that are just instigators. And we're not going to do any of that. And I thought to myself, wait, what? You're doing that now? You're making that rule now? Of course there are people. Anytime there's a riot, there's instigators from outside that try and create trouble and capitalize. I hate those type of people that capitalize on a situation, on other people's craziness. They go, oh, look, there's a powder keg going off. Let's take advantage of it and make our own money off of this. Well, Columbia was going to try and cut down on or clamp down on that. Let's see if that happens. So with more ways to find out about what this podcast is about, Mike's Daily Podcast, all the places you can listen to it, and all the past podcasts, the podcast pictures too. All of that can be found right here. And A-Frame's going to tell you about it.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com.
Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com.
See you tomorrow. Bye.